Hey guys, it's Mike from Shimino's Workshop. We have our latest install, which is a K4v2, K4 version 2. This is an Obi-Wan saber. This is an upgrade from the K4, which I believe was a Parks manufactured saber. A89 sabers designed this, and Korbanth, I guess, brands it as a K4v2 and offers it on the Korbanth website. This is a Korbanth commission, so this has, preset fonts and blade styles consistent with other Korbanth installs. So let's look at the saber first. Well done, very well constructed, install friendly. Buttons provided with the kit, which have built-in springs and plungers, bubble strip included. What else? Blade plug included. Retention. The hilt comes and vented pommel. Nicely done, so it doesn't even look like it's vented, but we had some vented pommel action going on there. The hilt comes apart here at the pommel, this part as well, and then up here. The grenade section does not detach here, but it does detach here, and then here, and then obviously this. But with this type of install, we're using a Goth print-it-yourself chassis, Proffieboard, NeoPixel, 28mm battery, recharge port, not a removable chassis, not a crystal reveal. Again, this does not come apart at this part. Let's see. And then up here we have a Dimitri stock PCB, pixels on board, and I printed a 3D diffusing spacer to put in there so that you don't actually see, all you do is see the light, you don't actually see the 5 pixels. So let's kill keys in there. Gotta put a little lubricant on those treads. So we can see, here's our 28mm speaker, recharge port. Proffie has good access to both USB port and SD card. So let's remove the kill. So like I said, this is not a removable chassis. It is held in place by a pair of retention screws underneath the clamp. So you can remove the clamp, which would require unscrewing these two buttons. So the clamp is not removable unless you unscrew these. These are snug. I didn't use any tread lock or anything like that. Loctite, I mean, which would make it near impossible to remove these. So these are just finger tight, and they hold in place real well. But you could, if you undo those, you could remove the clamp and get access to both the switches, which are attached to the chassis under the buttons, as well as if you wanted to get to the boot and reset. I guess you could probably just use maybe some Q-tips or something long, and you'd be able to access them without having to undo all of this. Let's see. Yeah, so let's put this back on. The bubble strip is loose, meaning what I mean to say is this can only compress so much due to the hilt design. Not that that's a negative thing, but turning this won't have any effect on how tight that clamp can get, just due to sort of the frame of the hilt. What I did was I just put some tape under the outside edges of the the clamp card. Got it in place, pressed down, make sure that the tape is adhering, and then it won't move now. So it's nice and secure. This was also a little loose, so it was getting annoying for having it turn, you know, so I did put a little bit of Loctite under that to keep this in place. Okay, well, enough said, let's activate. See what our battery voltage is here.
4.18 volts.
4.18 volts. I'll probably turn the volume up on this a little bit. Sounds a little bit low. Lower than I would like it to be. But as I said at the beginning, this is a Korbanth install, so this has a bunch of fonts preloaded, bunch of blade styles, similar to the MPP and the Graflex Supreme that I posted. This will mimic that. So I'll run through, I'll name off some fonts that as we go that were used. I'll also put in a NeoPixel blade and we'll showcase that. Alright, so our first font, this is Rogue Vader by K4v2. Like our other installs, we are using the Dimitri Stocks NeoPixel connector PCB, which has 5 pixels on board. It's in V4 configuration, so that means that the 5 pixels can work independently from the blade pixels, and that is simply managed by blade style. I have it mimic the blade style, but anybody can change that through blade styles without having to rewire it. I feel that gives the best flexibility. All right, next one. So this is a New Hope training. Also, this is by Gsp Kirkbride. Red blades. You know what, in fact, what I'll do is I'll take the blade plug out and we'll put the blade in so that we can see what's going on with the blade styles. So this is the plug that's included with the kit. I printed this in a nice diffused, clear diffused filament. Simply drop it into place and that gives you your diffusion, and it's also offset. I don't know if you can see that. This way the pogo pins, there's room there. To clear the pogo pins. This is a standard 1-inch blade that I use in all my demos, and I do even sand this down, and it is still even a tight fit. So this emitter, make sure I got it down all the way. Yep. So might consider that when putting in your blade, that you might need to sand your blade down to make sure it fits. Snug is good, but this is a little snug than I like. Okay, so let's do that again.
Lord Vader.
Oops.
Lord Vader.
Alright, so here's Rogue Vader from K4v2. Drag. We got a New Hope training by Gsp Kirkbride. I'm just going to run through these fonts quickly. This is Obi-Wan by Gsp Kirkbride.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
This is Gsp Graflex, also by Gsp Kirkbride.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
I'm never touching that thing again.
This should be the Force Awakens. I think I said that wrong. The first two fonts were both Vader fonts, followed by New Hope. I think I might have said that wrong. Let's see if I go back.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
Yeah. This is Gsp Graflex. And that's the Force Awakens Graflex. So Gsp Graflex, Force Awakens Graflex, both by Gsp. This is Half-Flex by K4v2 This is LS6 by K4v2. So that's a Luke Return of the Jedi.
This party's over.
Nope, skipped one. This is an Obi-Wan Kenobi hero pack from Gsp. And then this is the Mace Window Hero Pack from Gsp. I believe this one's Crossguard by K4v2. I could be wrong. There's no README file in the font, so I kind of had to trace this one back. And I believe it's Crossguard. But it could also be unstable from Gsp. I'll be honest, I'm not sure which one this is. I'm sure if Gsp watches, he'll let me know. And then this is the... Oh, what? So then this is Tron, which is always fun. Some fun sounds, fun blade style.
Always a pleasure to meet a Jedi.
Okay. This one is we call it Rain on the Korbanth installs. I'm not sure what this originates from, but this is a Rain blade style to represent the Episode 2 fight scene between Jango and Anakin.
The Dark Lord Sauron.
And a Lord of the Rings font, Sauron. Also a very cool font. I'm not sure I was able to trace back the maker of this one.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I think this is called Cantina. But I think this might actually just be a Team Z or a core font that had some Star Wars quotes added to it.
Team C.
There's another Team C in gradient style. I think that one as well is another core font. This one's fun, so it's kind of like a torchlight. And then we have our battery style, charging style.
Lord Vader.
So all my installs get the
4.10 volts.
get the battery voltage readout. That's an SA22 mod that I borrowed and applied it to the 2.6 core OS. And then in addition, another mod is just low battery warning and auto detection and shut off. So if voltage drops below 3 volts, the saber's on, it'll shut off. If the saber's off, every 15 seconds you'll get an audible warning. Okay. So let's take the blade out. Again, this is a snug fit, so to remove the blade, I would turn it to the right, almost like, righty-tighty, but turn it to the right and pull out, only because This way you don't, if you turn it left, the emitter will likely start to unscrew, which it really should be okay if it turns a little bit, but you have your NeoPixel connector and holder, you have wires running through, you know, the brass piping, so you don't want to turn this too much. It's not glued, it's just kind of free floating, so even if you turn it, right, it'll be okay. You know, it might turn a little bit with it, but you don't want to turn too much to risk breaking the wires. So that's why I say, even when removing the blade, turn it in the right direction, clockwise direction. Same thing here. I guess technically you could loosen this from the top of the grenade section, but the same thing is going to apply. If you turn it too much, the wires are going to turn, but eventually too much of a turn is going to get them to could get them to either pull off the soldering from either the PCB or the board. There is enough, you know, I do leave enough wire, so you probably would wind up twisting the wire quite a bit. But let's just not do that. What else can we talk about? Like I said, I do not put Loctite, certainly not gluing these buttons on. So they could over time loosen up, so you just every once in a while give them a little turn, make sure they're snug. Again, I don't want to put Loctite on these. You'll never get them off. And if you do, you're going to wind up using a pair of pliers or something, and you could damage these. And I don't know the availability of these types of plunging buttons. If you know, good luck getting those out of Peter. Maybe Randy has some extras. I don't know, but I would suggest not, you know, not gluing or adding Loctite or anything to help with that. This really isn't doing anything. It's not really adding any tension to it. It does close a little bit. But like I said, that's about all you're going to get out of it due to the frame of the hilt design. I did try turning this one more revolution to see if I could get it tighter, but it won't, just because it can't clamp down anymore because of the frame. So like I said, we added some tape to the bubble, to the both sides of the bubble strip, and that holds it in place even while it's open. So that's not really doing anything. And then, like we said before, the lower half does open in two parts. Although to recharge or access, you're really just going to take both of these parts out, right? Because the recharge port is under this grenade section, not under the pommel or the sync knob. So while these do come apart, and it's a very long thread. While they do come apart, there's really no reason. Now you can see here there is a screw on the inside, which is likely holding on this cap. The kit I got does not have another pommel cap, so I'm not sure the intention of that. Maybe it's just part of the manufacturing process. Or maybe, you know, there is a separate cap that could be put on. The D-ring comes attached and it's nice and snug, so that's always nice. I hate attaching D-rings. Okay, and you know, a word of caution that I would suggest to anybody, as you can see, you know, there's a good amount of space, right? So if I were going to lay this down on a table, maybe to recharge or something, if you put too much downward pressure out here, you will snap this chassis. I have no question about that. It's acting almost like a seesaw or a pivot point right here. So any downward pressure here is going to snap this chassis. So what I would suggest, even when putting the kill key in, hold the back of the chassis with your finger while you push it in. you know, don't, even if you're charging and you put it down, when you put the charging cable in, I would apply a little bit of pressure, not even pressure so much as putting your finger here to prevent that pivot action from happening, right? And then snapping the chassis. The chassis is, as I mentioned, there are some retention screws built into the frame of the hilt. So some 440 screws, you just screw them in, and that's attaching to the chassis. So this chassis is locked in place. It's not removable. Weathering options. I don't really offer weathering. I'm a terrible painter. And, you know, maybe one day I'll look into doing some aluminum black. But this, you know, I've seen some beautifully weathered Obi-Wan Kenobi hilts. If you are looking for an install, I'd love to install it. But if you're looking for a weathered install, maybe get it weathered somewhere else. And certainly feel free to send it to me, or send it to me and I'll work with somebody to weather it for you. I have minimal experience with aluminum black and weathering, so rather that be done by somebody who knows what they're doing. Or this could just be a shelf queen and look like it was the first day it was made. All right, any questions, feel free to send me a message, leave some comments. Thanks for watching.